and it won't be feedback.
Let's see here. And I have the meeting recording so we can get started.
All right, it is 6:51 on June 15th, and we'll start this meeting of Brainerd City Council Personnel and Finance Committee. We'll start with introductions. Who all's here? There's myself, Dave Pritchett, the committee chair.
Ted Anderson, Alderman at Large.
Jennifer Bergman, City Administrator.
David Chansky, Community Development Director.
Just chime in.
Paul Sandy, City Engineer.
Courtney McQuiston, Police Chief.
Connie Hillman, City Finance Director.
Jesse Ernster, Communications Intern.
And then we also have the dispatch. Teresa Burke. Is there anybody else here that I'm missing? All right. So we'll start with, we got 8 items on the agenda, correct? Anything to add or delete? Great. And start with agenda item number 1, which would be the approval of bills.
So moved. Erickson.
And there's nothing out of the ordinary to note.
All right. We got a motion to approve by Erickson. Is Mr. Stunek on the line yet?
No, and I expelled him so that because I couldn't mute him, so I expelled him from the list. So hopefully that really didn't mess him up.
Okay. Well, I suppose in the situation where there's only 2, I can second that. So any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing no discussion goes to a vote. Roll call.
T. Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek. He's still not with us audio. Pritchett,
Yes. And so that passes. Boy, I'd really like Mr. Stunek to be here for items 2 and 3. Let's see, what else do we have that's pretty much...
the update on the marketing plan, on the
I was
marketing.
thinking either that or maybe the police hiring ratification seems to be pretty straight up, doesn't it, Officer McQuiston? Okay, Police Chief McQuiston. Well, let's go to item number 5. And so that would be the police hiring ratification. Police Chief McQuiston, you have anything to add to the information that's already in the packet?
No, the only thing I think that's interesting to point out is that we made a conditional job offer to this candidate well before he graduated from school. And I think you're going to see this might be the wave of the future for us, is to lock in good candidates before other agencies have a chance. I'm pretty excited about Jordan. He's worked part-time in the Todd County Jail while he was putting himself through school. So I'm real optimistic that he's going to turn out to be a good long-term employee for the city. So no, other than what's listed in there about his starting date, to affirm that he started on Monday, June 8th, and that he did start at step 1 of our current labor agreement is listed there.
All right. Any questions? Okay, to entertain the motion to affirm the hiring of Officer Jordan Host, starting at LEL's step 1 rate of $27.43 an hour with the starting date of June 8, 2020.
So moved as stated.
All right, and Mr. Stunek is not with us yet?
No, it does not look like it. It looks like Jennifer's speaking with him again.
Okay, so I will second that. So we have a motion, we have a second. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? It goes to roll call.
T. Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek, Pritchett.
Yes.
Oh, a yes from Mr. Stunek. All right. And yes.
You just gave us all a raise, Kevin.
So,
Thank you.
do you have any chance of getting Kevin in? Because I was thinking otherwise, item number 6 looks, Chris, is item number 6, the long-term disability insurance, pretty routine also?
Already on number 6, holy crap.
Decided to do the routine ones first, Kevin, and make sure that you are in for the more interesting ones.
Okay.
Kind of nice, just don't make a habit of it. Otherwise, everybody will try pulling that one.
Hey, Dave.
Yeah.
Alderman Pritchett, I do have to get over to Safety and Public Works here soon also, so
If
number
Kevin can
2 is
hear,
an
we
item
could
I
do
have.
the item number 2 then.
Yep, thank you.
Kevin, are you Mr. Sunak, are you able to hear what's going on?
Kevin, can you hear?
Yeah, what'd you say?
He's just wondering if you're able to hear what's going on.
I can hear you and I can see the agenda, so.
Perfect.
So we're going to move to item number 2 since Engineer Sandy has to get to the other committee meeting for their 5-minute meeting. So, you know.
Come on.
All right, item number 2 is the custodial services, the RFP for City Hall, Police, Fire, and Streets. Mr. Sandy.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. So this kind of all started pre-City Hall remodel. Our current cleaning contractor for City Hall was bought out by a different company, and they were looking at the contract, and really our custodial provider hadn't increased the prices since basically the inception of the contract. So city staff pulled out the old RFP information, and we were looking through services that were being provided. And then we also took a look at what is happening over at the police department for cleaning services, and then the other 2 facilities being the fire department and the streets garage. Currently, no custodial service performed at either the fire department or streets garage. And so we took and we revised the RFP, seeing as our current contractor was looking for a revised price. And we figured at the time that it would be best to solicit RFPs and let everyone bid on the work and try to get consistent across all of our buildings on who's providing custodial services. This recently, Crow Wing County did go through this process, and we kind of did a mock-up of what theirs looked like and what our old one looked like, so that we could try to cover everything that needed to be done in our facilities. You can see the RFP document attached that was solicited out to qualified vendors. And I apologize because my computer is completely frozen up, so I can't see anything right now. Can you guys hear me?
Yes.
Okay. I don't have the prices, or I can't see the prices. Oh, here we go. I'm back again. So we did solicit the RFP for approximately 30 days. We received 5 responses back to it. And you can see those responses in the attached table that I put in. We had North Country Janitorial, who is the current police department vendor. They came in at a total monthly cost of $3,100 for all 4 buildings. The City Hall and Police Department were getting cleaned 3 times a week. Like I said before, Fire and Streets were not getting cleaned at all. Current staff was doing most of the cleaning in those buildings. You can see that the next lowest bidder was Envirotech Building Services for a total monthly cost of $34.96. Important to note that Envirotech is the current county vendor that they selected. They were not the low cost. North Country actually did beat out Envirotech in the county's solicitation also. However, Corky does currently have North Country as his janitorial provider. And there are some issues that we've had with his provider also. I think Corky can kind of get into some of those.
Kevin, I think you're there. Can you unmute?
So, yeah, the staff's recommendation is to go with the second lowest. We did reference checks on all of the vendors, the 2 low vendors. Envirotech did come back with rave reviews from the county, and from the experiences we've had with North Country, I think staff is comfortable electing to go with the second lowest, being that the value is there and they seem to be a very professional and well put together company that we would be more comfortable with moving into the future for a 3-year contract with. So I guess if there's any questions regarding any of this information, any of the staff can answer those now. So.
Okay. Any questions? I have a couple. I thought I saw someplace looking through here that this is a 3-year deal. Did I see that correctly? Okay,
That's
so
correct, Mr. Chair.
okay. My only question and concern is I can understand moving away from the vendor, considering that it seemed like they weren't the most responsive and they weren't fulfilling the duties that were outlined for them. And Envirotech has come highly recommended by the county. I do have some question with at this time increasing the cost by including a couple more buildings. Is there any possibility that we could add those buildings later, like in a year, and keep with the status quo for fire and streets?
Yes, Mr. Chair, I could answer that. We could certainly do that. I think there were some questions about the public use of these buildings. Street and sewer, there's really no public interaction in these buildings. One of the biggest reasons we included both is, come a year from now, we're going to have a newly remodeled, not fully remodeled, but there's going to be some changes in the street department. Currently, those guys do spend time cleaning their bathrooms and their break room by themselves. And the fire department does get quite a bit of public use, and I could see the benefit in getting that cleaned at least once a week, getting the surfaces in the training room and things well sanitized, especially during the times we live in now. So I think there is some benefit. We can always just award City Hall and police at this time. And that I'm sure Envirotech would be perfectly happy with that and re-adding those other ones in later. As far as City Hall and police are concerned, you can see that our current cleaning at City Hall is requesting about $3,377 a month, which is up dramatically from about $600 that we currently pay. So obviously, we don't really have a choice if we want cleaning services. We think that obviously Enviro from the major price increase we're seeing with our current contractor. So I mean,
okay,
on what they think is best, but we can certainly do.
Okay, Finance Director Hillman.
I was just going to add that by removing the street and fire department from the Envirotech estimate, it's about $5,712. So
Right.
not a whole lot in comparison to the increase. And if you look at it, really the increase is coming from the cleaning of City Hall, which, Paul, is it still every or 3 times a week for City Hall and the police department? And once at the fire and a street garage?
Yep, 3 times a week, Monday, Wednesday, and either Friday or the weekend would be the police department and City Hall. And then we had yet to kind of solidify what the 1 day a week would look like. It would probably be over the weekend of a clean building until it gets done again.
And I just think that we need to stress the whole COVID-19 thing and the services that we can get through a professional company versus staff taking the time. Not only that, and I do believe it was kind of mentioned, like what happens if Tim is scrubbing the toilets and something splashes in his eye, and now we have a workers' comp issue. What would that cost in the future as well?
Tim is notoriously bad at cleaning toilets, I suppose. All right.
I'm not going to.
When we discussed the agenda earlier, we didn't have the price breakdown for adding those other buildings, so it was kind of nice to see that it was less than what we had anticipated. The price difference. It's horrible to see that it's going up so much. Mr. Stunek, Mr. Erickson, do you have any questions?
Mr. Chair, just a comment. I guess I do see the value in maybe removing one of them. I guess if there's any public interaction, I would agree we should leave it in. And I think I heard Paul say that there's a fair bit of public interaction at the fire department, less so at the street department. But, I think, just our city staff too, I think, especially with the safety concerns and the health and sanitation being top of mind, especially, I guess I would prefer we keep them all. Just my thought.
I would say the same thing. Can you hear me?
Yep, loud and clear, Mr. Stunek.
Very good. I might be back to normal. I would say the same thing. Keep everything the same the way like Chad said.
All right. I will entertain a motion to authorize staff to enter into an agreement for professional custodial services with Envirotech in the amount of $1,765 a month for City Hall, $1,255 a month for the police department, $238 a month for the fire and for the street department, $238 a month for each of those.
So moved.
Unless you want me to repeat all that, I would make that motion just like you stated it.
All right. So motion by Stunek, second by Erickson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, goes to a vote.
T. Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek,
Yes.
Pritchett.
Yes. And that passes. So our item number 3, I'm going to still give them their original numbers. Otherwise, I'll just lose my mind here. Is a request for additional small business relief grant funds. And this would be Community Development Director Chansky.
Thank you, Mr. Chair. On June 4th, the EDA officially approved 32 small business relief grants for the total sum of $90,000. This is the amount that the City Council allocated to the EDA out of Fund 417. At that time, when those grants were issued, there were 8 grants or additional grant applications that had been vetted that fit the eligibility requirements set forth in the grant. However, there just wasn't funding for those. How the grants were allocated is it was a first come, first serve. So when they were submitted, it was submitted through a Google form that was time stamped, and staff, we just went through in order of which they were received, reviewed them for eligibility, and then gave them tentative approval, which the EDA formally approved. We did that until we got to the full $90,000, and then there were these 8 left over. You can see in there, those 8 are Pit Stop Bar, Yesterday's Gone Bar and Grill, Harding Shoe Repair, Kevin Matthews Pottery, 5 Rocks Distilling Company, Lakes Area Flooring Store, Jack's House, and Adapt Family Martial Arts and Fitness. The amount for these additional 8 is $23,500. All of them were requesting the full $3,000, except for I believe it was Kevin Matthews Pottery was requesting just only $2,500. Either that or Lakes Area Flooring Store. One of them was only requesting $2,500. The rest were requesting the full $3,000. As you can see, I put in my memo pretty much the balance for Fund 417 that the Finance Director Hillman was sent me. So at the beginning of 2019, we roughly had $172,793. Gained some interest. The council dedicated $40,000 for the riverfront, this feasibility study for the trail study, up to $25,000 for marketing. There's gonna be more discussion on that coming up on this agenda. The initial $90,000 for the small business relief grant, and then $100,000 to come back from the HRA. Now we did that money. At the time that this memo was submitted, we hadn't received that yet. That did officially come in. It actually came back as $99,077. So about $923 short of the full $100,000. The reason that $923 is short is because the HRA did spend some money on legal fees and then postage fees. So we came back at $99,777 or $99,077. There was some additional money from that additional one-time exception. So with all that, there's actually now there is a remaining balance currently in Fund 417 of $124,494. So I adjusted that amount in the memo based off of what we actually received from the HRA. So again, that amount is $124,494. If the committee and then the council were to approve this additional $22,500 to fund these final 8 grants, that would leave a balance in Fund 417 of $100,994. At this time, the grant has officially been closed, so no further applications are being received. And with that, I also have a list of 32 in the memo that were awarded already. And now with that, I will take some questions.
All right. Ms. Bergman.
So thank you, Mr. Chair, members of the committee. What I wanted to share also, so last Friday, David and Yvette and I had the opportunity to go out and hand deliver those grant checks. And the appreciation that we saw and the gratitude that we got from those businesses, David, what do we have? 3 people in tears when we handed those checks out. So I guess I just wanted to share with the council how appreciative those businesses were. And as you know, we had some that didn't even request the full amount. I think one requested $985. So it was really, really appreciated by the businesses.
All right. Ms. Hillman.
I was just gonna, there's some very minor typo, but the fund that we've been taking this from is Fund 217, the city's economic initiative, or for the city's economic initiatives, just a technicality.
So not
not
417.
217, not 417, yes.
All right. You know, I just kind of want to say that one, you know, I support this wholeheartedly. That's kind of what the money was for. 2, some of the concern was, are we going to run out of money and not be able to help all the businesses? With this, we'll be able to help all the businesses that requested. 3 was, is this amount enough to make a difference? I think that's been answered also. And 4, when you look at these, a lot of these are not in downtown, which also shows that we're supporting businesses in a wider spectrum than just focusing on downtown. And any other questions? Yes, Ms. Burton.
Mr. Chair, one more comment. So I know there's a lot of talk about the CARES Act, and I know that the legislature is in session right now, and we don't know how they're going to end up distributing those CARES Act dollars from the federal government. But it is very possible that we could reimburse ourselves for these funds that were used for this grant program. Again, it depends on what the legislature decides, but just something to keep in mind as well.
All right. Anything else? If not, I'll entertain a motion to transfer $23,500 to the Brainerd EDA to fund the 8 remaining small business relief grant applications.
So move. Erickson.
Motion
Second.
by Erickson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, goes to a vote and roll call.
Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek,
Yes.
Pritchett.
Yes, and that passes, which brings us to item 4, which is the update on the marketing campaign. Ms. Ernster, you're up.
Thank you. Yeah. So for the update going forward, we wanted to be sure that however this marketing campaign shaped up to be, that it was going to be as helpful and impactful to businesses as possible. And so to do that, we sent out a survey and received feedback from 46 local businesses on what they would be most beneficial for them. And based on that, we saw that just having the message that these businesses are open was what they wanted. And so you can see that in some of the messaging in the mock-ups here for some designs. And then additionally, I want to just quickly thank Mary Devine Johnson and Mr. Mayor Bordeaux for giving their advice and feedback. And Mary Devine Johnson actually helped us come up with You Betcha We're Open. So lots of thanks to them. And so for this design, I'll kind of go through it. We just want to make sure that it also was clearly identifiable as a Brainerd project. So if you saw this, you wouldn't associate with Nisswa or Baxter. It was clearly Brainerd. And so that's kind of where that background downtown image comes into play. The You Betcha We're Open, it's very snappy, very Midwestern, and then the other 2 kind of taglines that come on in and see what Brainerd has in store. And shop small, shop safely, they kind of allow for longevity of the message because there will be a time in the future where the public will know that the stores are open. And so kind of by changing that into something, for example, like we're local, this marketing campaign does have legs to be to work in the long term. And then we added, per the resolution a couple weeks ago, the Lakes Country Cares logo. And there's a couple different designs here that can be compared, and we just want to make sure the best product is going out there. And with that, I'll take some questions.
All right. Anybody have any questions?
Not really a question, Mr. Chair, but just a comment. I love the look of it. I think it was a good idea to put the city's logo on there as well as the photo to make sure it's Brainerd specific. And then also that item about longevity, I think that's a good idea too, to make it a little longer lasting than just a season.
Yep. Ms. Bergman.
So, Mr. Chair, thank you. Just a couple of things. I know that the council did allocate the $25,000 for marketing for this. As you see right now, we heard loud and clear, let's go slowly, let's move slowly. So although you allocated the $25,000, we wanted to come back for two reasons. Number one, we really wanted you to take a look at this marketing campaign and the graphic design that Jesse has created. But then also to show that we really are just going to take a small chunk and then look at how we do this over the next 12 to 18 months. Really, again, I'll second what Jesse said, just really focusing on Brainerd and making sure that people are aware that these are Brainerd businesses. And that's what we heard loud and clear from our businesses in that survey. Last but not least, I just want to say thanks to Jesse. She's really doing an amazing job, at 3-4 weeks into this and as an intern. So nice work, Jesse.
Yeah, looks very, very nice. I just have one question. Maybe City Administrator Bergman can answer this. Should these be 3 separate motions or should we do them as one motion?
Mr. Chair, I think you can do them as one motion.
Okay. All right. Any other questions or comments?
Comments, I think they look very good. Long time coming.
Yep. Kind of using the Brainerd colors too, the blue, the green. That's nice.
Yeah, very good.
All right. So entertain a motion to 1, approve the design and the message of the campaign, 2, authorize purchase of a full-page ad in Lakes Country Journal for $2,300, and 3, authorize the start of a campaign series on social media with the total cost of $700.
And I'll make that motion.
Second.
Motion by Stunek, second by Erickson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, goes to a vote.
Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek,
Yes.
Pritchett.
Yes, and that passes. So item 5 we have already done. We did not do item 6, correct? I know I brought it up, but I think that's when Mr. Sandy said he had to get to that other meeting. So let's go item 6, which is the long-term disability insurance request for proposal, and that would be HR Director Schubert.
Thank you. Good evening. So state law requires governmental units that offer group insurance coverage to go out for RFPs every 5 years. Our broker has told us it is now up. Our time is now for us to go out for RFPs for our long-term disability insurance. So he has provided us a timetable and some information about the process that he would like us to utilize for this RFP process for our LTD. Just to let you know, according to our broker, our current rates are considered competitive. He doesn't expect that we will get a huge savings by going out for our RFP. He has said that we may get a slight decrease, but we're not sure. So I just wanted you to be aware of that as well.
All right, thank you. Any questions or comments? Ms. Hellman?
Is there a cost? I don't see anywhere where there's a cost to go up for this RFP. To have Mr. Oakes help us? Oh, publication fees. Okay.
That's the only cost. They help us. They get a commission from being our broker.
All right. Anything else? Okay. Hearing nothing, entertain a motion to approve the long-term disability insurance RFP process and timeline as submitted by Integrity Employee Benefits.
So moved. Erickson.
Second, Stunek.
Moved by Erickson, second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, goes to a vote by roll call.
Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek,
Yes.
Pritchett.
Yes, and that passes. And that brings us to item number 7, which is consideration to finalize liquor license fees for the 7/1/2020 renewal. And that would be Ms. Hillman.
Thank you. We've talked a lot about this as with the past. The latest motion that the council took was to basically prorate the July 1st, 2020 to June 30th, 2021 renewal period, and to forgive 3 months and then reduce the net fee by 50%. And that was all, and they were going to allow the deferral of the monthly amount until the business opened. Because if you recall, June 1st, they could open up to outdoor seating only and limited to capacity. Then the governor further loosened the restrictions, and now people can have indoor seating and can operate at 50% of the capacity. So what staff is suggesting is that we set a deadline that that the council forgives basically 4 months of the license renewal. That would take even the people that opened up June 1st under the limited capacity, it would take into account those as well. And then reduce the net fee by 50%. This would ease in the administration and the billing of the license fee. And previously, the council had also said that we would bill them within 30 days of them opening up, and they would have 90 days to pay. So we wouldn't expect payment until basically October 1st, July, August, September. So like the end of September, the payment would be due. You know, when they were opening up with outdoor seating, they had to get a special permit. So we knew when businesses were opening. Now with them being able to open, we're not exactly sure when the businesses will open. So by forgiving 4 months and then reducing it by 50%, we would be treating everybody the same and it would be consistent and we could move forward.
Okay. So Ms. Hillman?
Yes.
Just to be clear, so previously we had 3 parts to this, which was waiving the 4 months, prorating by opening and reducing it 50%. And if this passes, what we would just be doing is getting rid of the prorating.
Right. We would stop the prorating after 4 months. Everybody would be treated the same whether they opened or not.
All right. Okay.
And this would be exactly following what the county did as well. It would be exactly what they did.
All right. Any questions? Okay. So entertain a motion that when dealing with liquor license affected by COVID-19 that have been previously identified for the renewal for the 7/1/2020 to 6/30/2021 period, they be reduced by a prorated 4 months and then reduce the remaining fee by 50%. Billing will be done prior to the end of June with fees payable within 90 days. Is that right?
I would make that motion.
Okay. Motion by Stunek.
And second.
Second by Erickson. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, goes to a vote.
Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek,
Yes.
Pritchett.
Yes, and that passes. And that takes us to our last item, item number 8, which is the Skillet Restaurant liquor license. And that would be from July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020, and goes back to you, Connie.
Right. So the Skillet Restaurant did get a license effective July 1st, 2019. The hope was that he would be able to get it open, be able to start serving liquor right away in his restaurant. However, I think there was a little confusion too, because we had just changed the liquor ordinance. And I think some businesses were afraid that they wouldn't be able to get a liquor license because there was just some confusion out there, I think, among liquor establishments of what we were doing when we were talking about the limit of 12. No, the Skillet wouldn't have fall under that restriction because it's a restaurant, so we can have unlimited number of restaurant with on-sale liquor license. Anyway, so Mr. Matson purchased the license effective July 1st, 2019. There were some changes at the state level and he was required to make some changes to the bar area before he could start serving alcohol, which took longer. And then in October, he experienced a fire at his establishment and the establishment has been closed since. So what we kind of looked at is the city statute, which says that if they get it in the middle of a liquor license period, we do prorate the fee. And then also in our city statute, it says refunds are only allowed if made by authorized by statute. When we look at state statute, Mr. Matson falls under that a refund could be issued because we were saying the business ceases to operate because of destruction or damage. So definitely effective by October 1st, we could refund the fee from October through the end of the license period. That is a given there. The question was, should we refund the fee from the beginning of the license period because he ran into problems with getting it approved by the state, etc. So staff's recommendation is that we do refund the whole $2,800 that Mr. Matson paid, but there is another option too that council could visit, and that would be to do it from July through October through June, which would be about a $2,100 refund. In either situation, Mr. Matson is asking that we refund be applied to the July 1st, 2020 renewal. What under either option, Mr. Matson's renewal for July 1st will be less than what we are refunding, so we will have to cut a check to him. I did speak with Mr. Matson, and he was very appreciative of the council taking the time to consider his motion, to consider his request.
All right. Any questions? Any thoughts on the 28 or the 21? I think since, you know, he applied for a license and wasn't able to serve alcohol at any of the period, I prefer the refunding the entire 2,800.
I was gonna say that too, but I was on mute, so thanks, Dave.
All right.
And the circumstances with the fire and everything, that just shouldn't happen, but I agree with the 2,800.
So,
I agree as well.
okay. So I entertain a motion to refund the entire 2,800 under the premise that Mr. Matson would not have needed a license until the approval from the health department. And the fee for July 1st, 2019 to June 30th, 2020 would have been prorated per city code, and a refund of the fee from October 19th to June 2020 is allowed per state statute due to the fire. The refund will be applied to the July 1st, 2020 renewal fee with the remainder returned to Mr. Matson.
So move. Erickson.
Second, Stunek.
We got a motion by Erickson and a second by Stunek. Any discussion? Any discussion? Any discussion? Hearing none, goes to a vote.
Erickson,
Yes.
Stunek,
Yes.
Pritchett.
Yes. And that passes. All right. Anything else at all? Good. I can wrestle with my computer and see if I can open up the other meeting. So,
I agree with that. I hope I can too.
all right. Did you have something, Jennifer, or are you just waving goodbye?
3 minutes to spare.
All right. Sounds good. Okay. See you in 3 minutes.
See you in 2 seconds.